All right. Everything's set up and ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the beloved one. I got you. First Maria and then incumbent first class Maria of vtNet Maria, Pisani na Maria, and its cosplay subcollective also Poreno Maria, cosplay Maria. Also the benefactor of the beloved and associates, TV Amazok, the first benefactor of the La Luna channel. I hereby proclaim that vtNet is officially provisioned and it's now ready for business. Good evening from the Philippines and good afternoon from Italy. It's currently 4:06 p.m. CST, 22:06 or 10:06 p.m. PHT. I welcome you all to the inaugural stream where we consolidate all of the VTubers that I have moderated, I have performed into a single roof. Welcome to vtNet, formerly VTB Amazok, ATB Amazok brand. So what is vtNet? vtNet is yours truly's multi-VTuber creative suite aiming to consolidate all of our VTuber experiences under one roof. This collection is born from the idea that any VTuber can express themselves in multitudes of ways across ecosystems. So essentially, it's basically a collection of the VTubers that I myself have created over the years, from Emi Sion to Senri Mana channel to ASMR Garden to RT600i and to the infamous Emi Sion. You already know all these VTubers that I have handled over the years, but they all seem to be fragmented in some way or another, which gives them their variety of sorts. From that point forward, it's now come to my attention that I need to consolidate them to the best I can so that all of their hubs will be in one place. I tried multiple times, but due to the fact that it's constantly evolving, seeing how dynamic VTubers are, it leaves much to be desired. More so that I need to amp up my antics, like my antics over in this case. So I initially went for VTB Amazok, which is basically virtual version of the Beloved and Associates, but it didn't go quite well as planned, and basically it's nothing much like out of the ordinary or somewhat in here, which you all guys already know that. So after all of the how many hiatuses that I got due to constant work, I finally have taken the courage to finally do something that is very extraordinary. That is to consolidate, as I previously reiterated, all of the VTuber experiences in one roof, which is basically this. So what we can expect from vtNet? Well, it's basically what do you call this? ASMR, RPGs, monthly streams, daily streams, all that good stuff, all at once. Various channels, different objectives, different audiences. But they all going to be under that one singular roof, governed by the same core values as vtNet Marias, the one that I majorly handle so far. Universality and acceptance. Those two pillars make up for what vtNet is worth outside of the vtNet Marias spectrum. And as a matter of fact, I just want to make this a little bit more interesting here. I voice all of those characters that we're going to be expecting to see on their various channels. They are going to be varied because, you know, different characters serve different purposes, and they need to be in their character. But in that case, I may be able to go out of character for the time being until further advice, but most of the time there are going to be in characters in which I'll be constantly developing as time goes by. Ultimately, though, it will be the first of its kind in my experience as a VTuber, and I really want to thank you for being on the journey with me so far, seeing all of these VTubers left and right in here, and despite the fact that I got so many characters I need to Void in here, like Void is usually my main platform when it comes to character building. So all of the stories came out of those Freud characters here, but they have their own stories to tell as well. And I do have my Vroids to showcase that. I actually have VC face open it here. I just had this bit of advice just for the hell of it. But let's take a look at what are going to be the first batch of channels to be included in this vtNet suite. Let's take a look first at the cornerstone of my voice acting endeavor, the ASMR Garden. ASMR Garden is basically the cornerstone of the benefactor's voice acting endeavor. This channel showcases all of her stints in ASMR and voice acting, most notably her one-takes and quote-unquote ASMR reading, which combines ASMR and script reading series. The most notable in those series include the story of the first Maria storytelling series. But what is essentially the story of the first Maria? It's basically my VTuber lore in book format. That's it. That's all there is. I might plan on improving that so far, but we'll get to that later on. And due to the fact that it's still in its early stages, feels a lot more to be desired. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on to our next channel, Emission and Arthur Regina Lidram. So also considered as the pioneer of the benefactor's initiative towards a multi-VTuber approach. Formerly a part of Aurora, they have incorporated Evertel into their everyday streaming activities, making them stand out from other VTubers of their kind. Aurora, which actually means as a modified name for Aurora Live VR. So here's a little bit of a story for those uninitiated. Aurora Live VR is definitely ingrained into my mind because that's the first VTubing agency I've ever interacted with my entire life as a VTuber. Not with, even more so the fact that the third Maria, which is actively streaming at that point during those days, is a part of Aurora Live VR as well. So when she retired, all of the experiences came to me. I actually brought that up some streams ago on this channel, on Emission's channel, which is basically what I call the alternative channel. The main channel that the main VTuber that I have is at the Blood Moon, which we all know and love as Agatsu. I call that as the mainstream. Emission, which is now Emission and Arthur Regina Lidram, are basically what I call the alternative. So for everyone here is unfamiliar with the fact that actually, some of you may have already been aware about my experience with Aurora Live VR before, and some of my colleagues or VTubers of any kind can already attest to that. I might give them a little bit of an interview real soon on the alternative, which is going to be this channel, Emission's channel, to see what has changed since their departure from Aurora. But if they don't want to talk about it, it's fine. What are their experiences so far with their previous models? Because there's a lot to talk about. There may be some reunions going on around here, some Aurora themed collective that I may be able to instantiate under the alternatives wing. I might be able to just do that. So anyways, that is it for the alternative, which is another name for Emission and Arthur Regina Lidram. Emission, if you want to follow them on socials. Moving on with Sumioi, Sakura, and Friends. Previously, Sumioi Sakura channel. What initially started as a way to showcase anime and manga to the world has evolved to storytelling that blends adult-focused perspectives with potential solutions. As part of this initiative, her role as an Ojo-sama will be shapen up in order to take care of those who found no hope in their world. So here's the thing. I have plotted this some time ago under the project called Project 177013, codename Metamorphosis Legacy. If you don't know what Metamorphosis Legacy is, go look up 177013 on Google. It has all the details that we need in order for us to get started with this one, but the gist of it is that I will be incorporating the Metamorphosis Legacy, which is, Henshin, Emergence, Metamorphosis, 177013, Yoshida Saki into this VTuber as well. So it's not just about anime, it's not about the manga anymore. We're straying away from those. Actually, you know what? Manga videos have already been retired, but I'm still compiling them up until 2025. That is just going to be the last year that the manga world will be recognized. Because I hate to admit this, but it keeps already being repetitive. And I hate that a lot. And considering the fact that some of the manga channels have already been dissolved already, that gives me low motivation to just keep going in that manga world. So I decided, as Sumioi, I need to step out of it now because the real trouble lies up ahead. Fun fact though, this is one of my alternate channels just in case mainstream is having issues. But this is also my adult, dark and adult side channel. So all of R18, all of adult stuff is right there on that channel. Moving on with Senri Mana. What a coincidence, it's already become Kaizai edition. I haven't updated it just yet. Once an all-around antagonist was set to bring Astraya to absolute desolation until a circumstance forced her to change her ways. Appearing on our screens every July of the year, her new motive remains unclear, but her journey as a Kitsune VTuber has just begun. Under joint operation with Astraya Central at Development and Associates or TBM Assault brand. So, quick fun fact about this. Senri Mana is my first PNG, like my first VTuber. When I started streaming for the first time, Holocure on Latitude 3420, I still remember that. Because I sift through all my playlists a lot. I used Kaiza PNG, which is straight from Ridaibu, and then it evolved in many years. Vroid improvements, even the fact that the Google Lens knew that already is just a feat of it in itself, which is basically what I did with these Vroids. They have to be accurate that even Google Lens recognized them as such. So, a quick fun fact though, another quick fun fact, I actually did my first ASMR using Senri Mana on one of those times. It still felt a bit cringy in my opinion, but I might be able to practice that for the upcoming month, because July is basically Senri Mana month, which means she will appear on our screens every month of the year. But we'll get to that later with the feature and that stuff on the brights, alright? And the last one, the new VTuber that I have that will be a part of this list, Chloe Amber, the RT600i. She is an amalgamation of existing RT600 and ST200 models recently freed following the events of Detroit to become human. Due to exasperating circumstances following the demise of her benefactor, whom she vowed to stay beside for years to come, she was forced to flee their home. Though her future remained uncertain, she hoped that she may be able to use her platform for the common good. So here's going to be a quick overview about this one. Still in its wraps in here because most of this will be just Detroit streams. Haven't got a laptop yet that is capable of running Detroit Become Human here, like a gaming laptop or an ROG Ally. Might work on that a little later, but the gist of it is that she is going to be the concept of androids as VTubers here. So we're taking the IP of Detroit Become Human into something that is VTuberable, and that still represents the original characters, like in this case RT600s and ST200s. That leaves with RT600i. Fun fact though, this is basically what I had pre-2019, in which I was still in roleplay. I used Chloe as RT600 before, then later on as ST200. Initially it was ST200 apparently, but I upgraded it to RT600i because why the hell not? So I still remember how I roleplayed as Chloe, so I might be able to use that skill later on throughout the VTubing regimen. And that's basically the first 6 of actually the first 5 of vtNet. The ASMR regimen, the alternative, the Kitsune, the rebirth of belonging, and the Detroitness. So I don't know what else to do with it at this point. Anyway, that's basically much it. Introductory wise, we haven't got to the actual models themselves. So let me summon VC Phase real quick. So here we go. Here is the default model that you all know and love as Agatsu. So let's change it to something else. All of these droids were made by me, okay? All of those droids were made by me. Like, I put my heart and soul into making these droids for the benefit of all, so that has to happen. So here's a little fun fact for this one. This is my Prelude era. This is basically my Prelude era edition, and I'm so happy this happened. So I'm actually quite shocked to know that this one here. But just a quick fun fact for those who don't know, I haven't discussed this quite yet because I've been hooked on it for so long. Mother was released 2019 or 2020 by Horror Shop Games. And by 2021, I decided to play for the first time, and I fell in love with her ever since. Went to the Horror Shop community, represent the mother, and it all came down from here on out. I was actually considering returning back to this version after the first Senri event has been concluded, because one of those streams at that time was basically a crossover with playing of Mother. So yeah, I used this model as a PNG. It's basically like an in-game PNG in here until it's basically changed colors for whatever reason. I gotta thank the second Maria, Aura Ostera, for that, because she actually let me do some things like this, and it's just really fascinating to see it evolve so much. And I'm very excited to see what comes next right afterwards. So anyways, that's the model here. I gotta adjust my mic in the process. I'm so sorry for that. Some things you gotta do as a streamer is basically doing things live. So yeah. Anyway, let's move forward with the first of the VTuber that I have here. But basically, let's go back to the current one that I have. I will be using that for ASMR gardening going forward. Possible different characters will be included in that channel as well, but they will all have their respective thumbnails as well. So I'll bring over some of the on the website later on, but we'll get to the models first, alright? So first one here, we have the alternative, which is Amy Seom. Linda, let's put a little lower than that here. Let me try that again. I'm so sorry. Technical difficulties. There you go. So here's Amy Seom, the reincarnated Phoenix Queen. So I actually made this model like with the palette that is the same as the Penguin VTuber, which I still haven't got. They are now part of Jang Atelier, in which I will be definitely be buying later on. So yeah, if it ever comes to that point, I'll be letting you guys know, because so that we can get to celebrate. And the Penguin model itself is basically what Third Maria was using as part of Aurora or Aurora Live VR. So more on that on the alternative channel as they come in. But right now, let's get to the thing in here. Everything looks good. Anyway, I believe that's much it. There are more variations to this one here, but they will have their separate showcases later on. So let's go to Arthur Regina Liram, which is basically this. Fun fact about this is also a recreated version of Liram in here. And by the look of it, everything seems to be in correct working order in here, except like the banks are in a way. But I left it like that because I love that so much. And yeah, it's supposed to represent the current state of the Liram from Evertel, or what I call this, Ebateru. So that's that. And then we'll go to Sumiyoi Sakura and Friends. So let's see here. First up, we have Sumiyoi Sakura herself. Very bubbly, very lovely. I like that. She represents Ojo-sama Yomeri Kuso. Next up on the list, Ichimiya Arisa from Tamashii Insert. And she has two braids instead of one, and they're all right in the back. It has a similarity though, so we'll get to that in just a moment here. Next on our list is Kimura Aria, which is from Rakuen Shinsoku, Island of the Dead by Shoten. Again, we're still leaning into the dark and adult side of things in here, and most of the characters from this from this caliber are of adult-based characters, or characters from adult themed or adult games, anime or whatnot. What you want to call this? It's basically that. And this one here, the Metamorphosis Legacy. Yoshida Saki in its purest final form. Still with the twin braids as Ichimiya Arisa, but that resonated very well in this one here. So that took me a while in here because the original copy doesn't have colors or whatnot, so that's that. And then next one here we have Maigo Kutsu from... Actually, forgot to mention there, for Yoshida Saki, she is from 177013, Metamorphosis, Henshin, Emergence, what I call the Metamorphosis Legacy. This one here is Kutsu Maigo. Originally has an unknown name, and she represents the girl in the back alley. 2016 AS109. And I've been very much intrigued by that ever since I saw that on a peculiar site. And I can't stop thinking about it. I just want to recreate it. Initially, I came up with an X account for that. However, since she was locked out, I wasn't able to get in. that gave me a window of opportunity to say that she lost her phone, and then she just got into this universe. But more on that later. All right, more on that later. And the last character to be included on the Sumio Sakura and Friends list is basically this: Miori Natsuki from Natsuki's Life in Prison by Play Meow Games. And I have a copy for it on my hard drive. Like legitimately, I have it on my hard drive, and I'm not making that up. I do have the copy. I haven't played the game yet, but I saw from the teasers, the promotionals, the pictures themselves on Steam, on Steam Unlocked. Those were relatively benign. Definitely worth taking a look. Definitely worth looking to see what we can improve upon that one. So, last two on the list, we have Senri Mana, we all know and love, on the version 2 edition, which is basically what I have here. So, I will be using that model consistently, and you will be able to expect it to appear again this July of this year, following Senri Mana's 2026. So all of that in that same place. So, and last but not least, the model that I have, the RT600i. She's pretty beautiful. I can definitely much attest to that. So let's see what we have here. I haven't got on the changes yet, but on the lighting wise, but I mean, if it has to happen, it has to happen. I'm like, yeah. So this one here is just going to be a bit of an odd thing, because normally I don't speak like this. If it comes to Amber, she will be I will be doing the Chloe voice for her, like what Gabrielle Hirsch would do and Barbara Whipper-Scaff would do, and stuff like this. You know, Barbara Whipper-Scaff and Gabrielle Hirsch are basically ST200s and RT600s in a nutshell, and the model themselves are based off of Gabrielle Hirsch. So she's one of the legends out there, who's part of the Detroit team, who represents Chloe as an RT600 and as an ST200. So with that out of the way, let's go back to our current model here, because I do have some news to make. First things first, since vtNet is now has officially launched, you can now expect all of the end cards going forward to be like, so let's see here, to be like this. Yeah, so that is going to be the end card of those things, of those channels right afterwards, and they will just stay there until their stream session ends. You will see this more often on the alternative. However, in some of the cases, it will appear most often when all of these vtNet affiliated channels will get to conclude their stream. Secondly, they will have their own introductions as well, so let's expect some debuts to come out with those particular models. And in some cases, some voices will be required, so I need to prep my throat for that. So in any case, thirdly, they will have their own music. vtNet does have its own music. Actually, Development Associates, or TBM itself, has its own music, which is the one I recently produced and was recently released as part of Vitres Maria's musical selections. If you don't know what that is, it's basically an album under La Luna Musica in collaboration with my VTuber collective, Vitres Maria's Visa Nino Maria. It's now on track 2, and it's an homage to Mind Blossoms, The Celestial Tree, I can't pronounce it in Korean. I might be able to, but more on that later. But anyways, it's called Yearning, a World Tree Orchestral Medley, which basically takes all of what the discography has so far and integrate this in G sharp major, which is basically the key or the primary key or the primary chord of Yearning. So you can already look into that now on YouTube under at Bisa ni no Maria, or look for that under vttres Marias on YouTube. And the last, this won't be the last debut stream, although this is going to be a debut stream that is available on the moon_follow channel, which is the Luna channel. All of the other details for that are going to be in their respective websites. So the main landing page for vtNet is dbmazok.github.io/vtnet. For the ASMR Garden, that is /ASMR Garden. For the alternative, /MECM. For Sumiyoi Sakura and Friends, /Sumiyoi. For Senri Mana, that's basically our /Senri Mana. And for Chloe, /RT600i. So all of that will be in their direct website going forward on here. They're already in pin as well if you want to take a look. So in that case, that should be about it. I would like to thank you all for being here with me throughout all this. And just a little extra here. I will now be directly compiling all of VTuber related news for the revival or the continuation of or the resumption of state of VTuber, state of the VTuber community. And it's been a very fun experience so far in here. I wanted to go back to the swing of things. Admittedly, the main reason I want to do this because I was already unemployed. I had to get back to academic grinds, freelancing if able to, but most importantly, creatives are itching, and I am definitely itching for some creatives so far. So this will be a nice experience so far. So all that said, let's keep the good work on it. Let's keep at it, and let's keep the good one out of the way. And more things will come for vtNet, for vtNet's members. So all of that will be broadcasted separately on different schedules. Notably, most notably with Senri Mana, that will come 1 July, which is basically Senri Mana Day, the first episode for Senri Mana 2026. So, with that said, I would like to thank you all for being here with me today. And it's been quite an honor to have all of these consolidated together for a wonderful experience in here. And I just can't wait to show you guys just how much it means to me as a VTuber here. It's basically like a multi-VTuber approach that I'm looking at right now over here. And what we have so far is just relatively benign, and it definitely speaks for itself in here. I'm very excited to continue. We'll continue doing what we're doing. So with that said, we'll be calling this one a success, even though it's just me and myself. But in any case, we all know what's up. We all know what's up. We all know that everything is just going to be one of the best experiences that we have come to pass so far. All of that on a good note. So in that case, we are officially calling it a success on vtNet. More to come later on. vttres Maria's musical selections track 2 is now ready for listening. You can now listen to that on vttres Maria's channel. Until next time, this has been Agatsu, the first Maria and the incumbent first class Maria, the first benefactor of the Luna, and the primary benefactor of vtNet, a TV and Mazok network. For those who are watching on alternatives on Twitch, there will be no raids. Normally on YouTube as well, I just have to manually end it all at once. So no problems there. I'll take care of those after this stream. So for now, I will bid you guys good night, and I will be seeing you guys in separate channels, all with different voices if applicable. And I'll see you guys later.